welcome to Auditions 3 of AGT Time. Cody Patterson here along with...
Along with Jay Bach, we are ready for a third episode of Auditions. We are coming up on judges' cuts and live shows, and who knows how they're going to pull this off. But we're barreling forward with new acts and new stuff every week.
Yeah, presumably we're going to have live shows at some point. It's still kind of unknown. But I think we're halfway through auditions.
Yeah, I suspect there's going to be 6 episodes based on the AGT fandom website. It looked like auditions for 6 episodes up through the end of June, and then we'll see what happens in July.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of taking this week by week based on what's going on, or I guess what did go on for them, because they're still in probably late March or so, recording these auditions. So, I guess maybe mid to early March recording these auditions. So it's still kind of up in the air of what we're going to see once quarantine hits in AGT time.
Right.
See what I did there?
In AGT time. What time is it? AGT time. No, we've got some good acts to talk about tonight. Some interesting, I think, tidbits to hash out here. I'll be interested to see what you think of some of these acts that are and are not going through, and we'll jump into it. I suppose we should probably take care of our business first. You can tweet at us at AGT Time. You can tweet at me directly at One Man Bander or at Cody L. Patterson. You can email us, agtcast@gmail.com, or join us on Facebook. AGTcast is the Facebook page. And we recently added PayPal capabilities. So if you want to send a couple of dollars our way to say, hey, thanks for the best darn AGT podcast out there, we would appreciate a couple of bucks. You could send that to agtcast@gmail.com. So with that, are you ready to jump into some acts, Cody?
Man, I think we got some pretty good acts tonight, and I'm ready to get into them.
Okay, first act of the night. There is no backstory, no big build up for this one. It is just we're going to jump right into the act, kind of like it was Bonavega last week. You ready? Here we go. So we've got a young lady named Emerald Gordon Wolf. She is a contortionist, and they roll out like a bedroom vanity onto the stage, and she pops out of one of the drawers or cabinets on the side of the vanity. I guess before we kind of jump too far into it, any first thoughts on Emerald Gordon Wolf?
Just my first thought was, I'm glad we have our Sophie Dossie of the year.
Very Sophie Dossie in her presentation. So, I know you love it when I try to explain what
Yes.
what some of these acts do. So I'm going to try and do that for you here.
I think you are the Sophie Dossie of explaining these acts.
Okay. Well, she's amazing. Super bendy, right? Super flexible. Her spine bends in half. You ever been able to touch your butt to your head, Cody?
No.
Even close?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I've never never even imagined it. So she does like a back bend with her hands and feet on the tabletop, and then she like spins her head around. Did it like 3 times. So like her chest was touching while her head was back towards her butt, and then it spun around to a more natural looking thing. So like she's really kind of a cool move. I don't know that I've seen a contortionist do that particular move, and she did it well, and all with a smile on her face. She did a thing where she kind of walked herself around, and she twisted her body. So instead of doing a back bend, she's doing a back bend, but her torso is twisted 180 degrees, and her hands are on the wrong sides of where they should be. So she did that. She did another thing where her chest is on the tabletop, and she bends her what did I say? My notes get weird here.
Well, the whole act kind of gets weird, but funny
Right,
at the
right.
same time.
So yeah, she's folded in a circle in her in a back bend, and then she rolled forward so that instead of her feet being flat on the ground, her knees were on the tabletop, I guess. So um that was the thing. She sat like crisscross applesauce, but it was only with one leg while the other one was sort of out in a splits kind of move, and then she folds her right leg in and it touches the bottom of her up facing left foot. uh Again, just crazy flexibility, really sells what she's doing, makes it look like she's really doing impossible things with her body. Um, then she flips up the tabletop that she was performing on and reveals a sort of "I love you, Simon" kind of a facade there, with a picture of Simon Cowell on it. Um, Maybe a little weird, kind of out of her age range, but the humor of it, I guess, wasn't lost on me.
No, I think it's right within the age range of these preteen contortionists. I mean, we had Sophie Dossie a couple years ago. I was trying to remember her name. I was trying to go back and look. There was someone else that was a contortionist. I think in when she was high school, may have been back in season 10, 11, somewhere around in there. Might have been even season 8, 7. It's been a while. It's been several years. But
Yeah.
there was someone else that was kind of in that same age range. So I think this is kind of the target range for these cute little preteen contortionists. She's a hoot. She's fantastic. She's got a great personality. She did a blow dart at the very end.
Yes, that was her very
So
last move.
yeah.
And maybe you didn't hear me right, or I didn't say it right, but I was saying Simon Cowell was kind of out of her age range.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right about that. Yes.
But
But these preteens, these teens, they have kind of their crushes on some older men, and I think that's okay. But she did a blow dart at the end, similar to Sophie's bow and arrow. So I thought that was a nice little twist on the same concept. Um, so
yep,
it was a lot of
yep.
fun. I really enjoyed it.
She, for what it's worth, the blow dart wasn't just her standing there blowing a dart at a balloon. She was had her chest on the vanity bench and then folded her legs over her head backwards and held the blow dart with her foot and blew through it to hit the target. So, um, really, really fun act, really well done. She's a very, very capable contortionist, cute as a button. What else is there to say? She's clearly the kind of act that I think AGT wants to put through. Gives you that variety, gives you something really visually stunning to watch. I loved it.
Yeah, and I love that we didn't get a story. She's just looks like an average preteen teen little girl. Like you say, cute as a button, just a little cutie. She's a lot of fun. I hope we get to enjoy her for several rounds.
Yep, yep, I think so. Simon said, you're very creative. I prefer judging acts that are professionals, and I think our audience is really going to like you. You have to do something we've never seen before. Heidi said, I think you're an incredible young lady. What an amazing gift you have. Sophia said, I thought it was fantastic. Not only your body, but your face, and you had some comedy in it. Howie said, and you had all your bones removed 3 years ago. But all kidding aside, you were great. So 4 yeses from the judges. She's going through. We don't get a whole lot more backstory from her. There's, I wonder if this is one of those kind of judge cut acts that, um, they don't want us too invested in, but they have to put them on there.
Yeah, we her basically intro was 11 seconds. But I
Right.
love that they kind of just rolled her out. It was a little surprise of what she does. It was a surprise that she came out. She's kind of hidden away in the cabinet. Um, I hope we don't get a whole lot of a backstory other than she's just a normal girl who likes whatever it is that she likes, and we don't get a big story.
Yeah, yeah, and I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely
But
perfectly
on
fine
her
with that.
talent alone, she's fantastic, and I
Yep.
I loved it. So,
Yep.
Second act of the night that we get to see is, well, I guess we kind of get introduced to two a cappella groups here, or two vocal groups, anyhow, at the same time. We've got Bank of Harmony, who is looking like a barbershop quartet, and we also get introduced to Resound, a like vocal trio, they said. But the first ones on stage were Bank of Harmony, a cappella barbershop quartet. Um, Thoughts on, in general, barbershop quartets?
I like quartet barbershop quartets in general.
Yes.
I enjoy a good barbershop quartet. Every time we go to Disney, there's the Dapper Dans that they have down there on Main Street. I love to kind of sit and just listen to the Dapper Dans as they're singing. I think the barbershop quartet's a lot of fun, especially when you do a nice twist on a. I'm guessing it's a modern song, Juice by Lizzo. So when you throw in a pop song and not an old timey song, then it even makes it more fun. I thought they kind of got a raw deal.
Yeah, I kind of did too. You know, I really do enjoy it. Not even, it doesn't even have to be a good barbershop quartet. An average barbershop quartet, I enjoy the heck out of it. So
Yeah,
I'm totally, I enjoy it. I enjoy the harmonies. I think that you know the music kind of plays the straight man to the comedy of what they can bring to it as well. But you have to be, artists, and you have to work together, and you have to really listen to each other. And I think that barbershop quartets, kind of like mimes, they just get a bad rap for some reason.
yeah,
It's better art than people give it credit for.
yeah. I think it was Simon that said that there are others doing it better than they are.
Yeah, and it's kind of a thing that barbershop quartets do, is you barbershop up a modern song, you know a, a, a pop song, and you add those barbershop harmonies and the barbershop feel to it. But I didn't have a lot of trouble with it with this particular act. Like, I I didn't know the song, so it didn't really pull me in. But anytime I see Jimmy Fallon doing like the barbershop quartet stuff, I love it. I get a kick out of it. So I wish we were going to see more of what they had to do, but it was no's from the judges. 4 no's.
Yeah, that was a little surprising. Even Howie didn't enjoy it, which just seems like this would be something right up his alley.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know why, but unfortunately, barbershop quartets, that they just don't have an audience with the AGT judges, it seems.
Yeah, and we got a lot of time with them. So it was surprising that we got so much time with them and then we get 4 no's.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So we sort of were shortly introduced to our next group, called Resound, a vocal trio from Richmond, Virginia. Friends since they were kids. They have quit their jobs to become performers, and on stage talking to the judges, they say, we just want to use our gifts to spread love, hope, and joy, which is a wonderful goal. I'm a big fan of love, hope, and joy. So yeah, I like them. They sing the song "What the World Needs Now is Love, Love, Sweet Love." They're super smooth, really easy to listen to, really tight harmonies. They're likable, they're relatable. Their voices are silky yet powerful. They hit every note spot on. I I loved it, and appreciate that this is a song that I'm familiar with as well,
yeah.
which seems kind of hard to come by sometimes.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and I think Howie said they're a choir, but they're like a choir, but there's only 3 of them. I thought the song choice was perfect. I know this was recorded in a time before everything that's going on right now, but I thought that it just fit perfect in these difficult times that we're having right now.
Yes,
Just yeah, yes, the world does need love, love, sweet love. Um, so I thought that was great. They're right. They're smooth. They're likable. They have great personalities. I hope they can do a little bit more than kind of just stand on the stage and sing. Um, I don't know if they're going to become, another Texas Tenors or any other type of trio group. I hope there's more that they can do besides just stand on the stage and sing.
Yeah,
They don't have instruments, so they sing to a soundtrack. I
yeah,
hope
they've
there's
got
more there.
got a recording or a whatever backup that they sing along with. It
I think they did say that they make their own mixes and backtracks though.
Yeah, at the very least, they're writing their own arrangements of the
Arrangements, yeah.
song. So,
Yep.
Simon said, "I love your voices so much. Your joy of performing. It was beautifully old school." Sophia said, "I want to get married again, so you can sing me down the aisle." Heidi said, "I think you're ready for the competition. To me, this was flawless." Howie said, "You guys are such a well-tuned machine." um yeah, and they work well together. I don't see any problem with this. I enjoyed them a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed the two. Simon also said, they need to come up with a song and arrangement that we've never heard before. But if they come up with a song and arrangement we've never heard before, how would we know if it's an arrangement?
uh right, yeah.
So,
um yeah, part of the competition is arranging the song and
yes.
being able to deliver it, and I think they're very good arrangers as well. So I am interested to see what they bring. I like them. As far as singing acts go, they are very easy to listen to.
Yep. Yep. Yes, they are.
Okay, next act of the night, we got a young lady named Amanda LeCount. She's a singer. She, in her video package, is a self-described bigger girl, and was at a young age told by her dance coach she was not the right body type to be on the dance troupe, and all through her life, anyone else has told her that she's not the right shape to be a dancer. Um, which is unfortunate because she's a darn good dancer. um, Dances to a song by Todrick Hall called "Nails, Hair, Hips, Heels." You familiar with the song?
I am not. No,
Oh,
sorry.
okay, all right. Well, what do you think of Amanda LeCount, the dancer?
um, I'm on the fence by Amanda because I'm not big on dancers to begin with. And kind of watching her, I wasn't really sure how to judge this. Because just from like raw, I watched it twice, and the first time I watched it, I didn't think that her dancing was actually that good. It seemed like it was all over the place. It didn't seem like it was very rhythmic. Um, it wasn't sharp. It wasn't. It didn't seem like it was all there. I'm not sure really how to explain it, but there was just something about her dancing that just didn't feel like it was um, right for AGT. Like it wasn't. I think one of them explained this is not $1 million act. I didn't feel like it was $1 million dancing. Um, I thought she was a fine dancer. She wasn't crazy. It wasn't completely off the wall. I thought she was just it was very fine dancing. Um, it reminded me a lot of Oscar Hernandez from season 12. Um, he was also a bigger gentleman. I think he did some splits.
Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't big on him at the beginning, but I think he got through to the quarterfinals, and by the time he got to the quarterfinals, I kind of come around to Oscar. So I'm hoping that as Amanda moves along in the rounds, that it might come around to me. But just in her initial audition, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like that the dancing was quite there.
Yeah, and this again, we are cutting to the audience, and you don't really get a whole sense of the entire actor if you're just getting highlights or things that she does. Like it did feel a little bit disjointed at times. I'd agree with that. You know, uh, on the on the whole, I felt like she did really well. Right? She's very athletic, fun to watch. She's comfortable in her skin. She's not too sexy, but kind of sexy enough. Like you can tell that she is a classically trained dancer. That she moves in a in a dancery way, right? She's on point with pointing her toes and that sort of thing. Um, so with that, she also didn't really do anything that we haven't seen before. She brought as much energy and enthusiasm as anybody we've seen, as any dancer we've seen on AGT, but it didn't feel very fresh, I guess would be a way
Yeah.
to put it. So
Yeah.
um Sophia said, "You gave it all. We were so happy. I couldn't take my eyes off you." Howie said, "You can move and you're athletic. You inspire people who maybe don't fit the mold, but I don't know. I'd go see a show to see you do that." I just said, "You got me bumping, and I think it's $1 million act." Or I don't think it's $1 million act. I'm sorry. And Simon said, "I'm going to be honest. For me, I loved every moment of the audition. Your joy and enthusiasm is contagious, and I'm going to remember you." So we got a yes from Sophia and Simon, and then a no from Heidi, and then Howie had to be talked into putting her through. But the audience cheered him on, and he went ahead and gave her a thumbs up.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked this point in the audition because it was one of those points where one of the judges wasn't sure what to do. They were leaning on giving them a no, and I think we get this later on as well. But they listened to the audience and changed their mind. The audience wanted her to go through. The, Howie listened to the audience and gave her a yes. But I did like that we have judges. And I think Simon will mention later on that the judges have different opinions, and I kind of like that. I don't. We've talked many times that we don't want our judges to just agree on everything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if an act is good, yes, they're going to put them through. But this time they actually disagreed a little bit, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else she brings to the show.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see her next performance. Can she bring it to a level? Can she show us something new? Um, and not just be, the bigger girl who's a good dancer.
yeah.
That will only take you so far. So then we got a couple of kind of rejected acts, it seemed. We had a young lady named Barbara sings Call Out My Name by The Weekend. We hear Howie say, "This performance, the nerves got in the way." She seemed like a fine singer, just not great, right?
Yeah, these both these acts here, they it was kind of a common theme of the performers being nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The other band, or the other one that we saw, was New Law, a band sang a very like a song that I didn't recognize. Sounded kind of like every song that I listened to in the mid '90s, like sort of that sound, that harmonies, whatever it was about it. It was like, okay, well, it was fine, but the judges didn't love him, gave him four no's. So
yeah.
uh, that was yeah, Barbara and New Law.
I want. I would be surprised if there's a vast majority, not even vast majority of acts that were not nervous going on to AGT. I would say it's very common for an act to be nervous when they go on that stage, because you're not only in front of these four fantastic celebrity judges, but then you have 4,000 people in the audience, and then millions are going to be watching at home. So it's how you attack those nerves that kind of moves you to that next level. And they've moved people on that have been nervous, but they've
Mm-hmm.
also done a fantastic job. These must have just been they considered very average where the nerves got to them.
Yeah, and that is interesting. How do you uh, if the nerves aren't getting to you, then you may already be a professional at what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's kind of hard to say, like, uh, the nerves should be a factor that keeps them from going through when, it's the amateurness of some of these acts that's so endearing that I love so much about them. So, um, if you're already a professional, why are you on AGT? I guess, just to get more exposure, or,
Yeah.
get that $1 million. But the $1 million over 20 years just isn't all that much at the end of the day. So yeah, that was Barbara and New Law. There's going to be one more rejected acts coming up later, so we'll review all four of those and we'll rank them here in a minute. But with that, next act of the night is Daniela Tulashova. She is from Kazakhstan, 13 years old. Sings a song "Tears of Gold" by Fauzia. Are you familiar with Tears of Gold?
I am not. No.
Okay. To be consistent with our musical knowledge.
Hey! We know that the world needs love, Jay, and that's kind of all we need to know right now, right?
Let's roll with it. Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Danelia Tulashova?
This was probably I think one of the stars of the night.
Really?
Yes, she's got a fantastic voice. I know that they said we have written down mature voice. It's the voice that came out of this little girl was not what we expected. She looks like she's got good stage presence. She seems very mature for her age as a whole. But the song I thought was great. I don't know this song, but I really like this arrangement.
I wrote down three things.
Okay.
I wrote down that her voice reminds me of the band Ace of Base.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of reminded me of that sound.
Did you see the sign?
No, I did not.
Oh.
Her voice reminds me of Ace of Base. Otherwise forgettable. That was the other thing I wrote.
Oh.
I didn't have a whole lot else to say. And then I wrote down poor man's Courtney Hadwin.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know if she's Courtney Hadwin, because Courtney Hadwin sang some pretty, and I'm going to say harder songs, but not harder and more difficult. But they were heavier songs. I think that they probably look similar, but I don't think they're the same style of singer.
Not the same style, but
Yeah.
I nothing about her shook me or really grabbed me or made me need to see her again.
Okay.
She's good. She's very good.
She's very good. Yeah.
But there was just something lacking there.
Okay.
Heidi said, "I thought it was cool. You seemed so shy, and then boom, it was a loud song. But the first audition, I thought it was great." Heidi said, "You're like this little caterpillar, and right before the song comes on, you're this beautiful butterfly." Sophia said, "I thought it was breathtaking. You look so delicate and tiny, then suddenly you're possessed." Simon said, "There's a thing happening where at the time for people your age, I don't know." He kind of went off on a weird tangent here.
Yeah,
So
he
you've got
basically
great
said,
taste. You're very cool. Incredible first audition.
yeah. So he was kind of saying that this is the time for kids, for singers your age, that for a while they would choose songs that are, I guess, outside of their age, and bigger pop singers like Billie Eilish. Younger singers are becoming more to the forefront, and they're writing songs and picking songs more for younger singers that kind of fit within um, that demographic, or even for that voice level. They would pick songs that are too old, and we've talked several times about kid singers singing songs that are too old for them.
Yeah.
Where I guess he thinks this is more aimed at her age and her demographics.
All right. All right. Well, all that said, the judges loved her. I was lukewarm. You were higher on her than I was. But I guess we'll see what comes of Daniela Tulashova.
Yeah, and usually I'm not. We all know I'm not big on singers, but I thought she was one of the best singers I think one of the best singers we've seen so far this season.
Oh, okay.
So
All right. Okay, moving on. We got a not quite as young man named Marty Ross. He's a stand-up comedian. What is he? 80 years old.
yes,
From
three ex-wives.
Santa Clarita, California. And he started off a little slow, not great material. Uh, some jokes about getting old. His mom lived to 101. He'd go visit his mother in the nursing home, and they wouldn't let him out. Had to get a night pass from the front desk. Uh, he talked about how young people hate old people, and everybody in the audience is like, "No, we don't hate old people." He said, "Really? You ever drive behind an old person?" And he turns around on the stage, takes off his hat, says, "Look familiar?" So that was a pretty good one. He caught them in their own, caught them red-handed, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. He said, "Also, my hearing's gotten awful. This woman told me that she has a peanut allergy." What? So I misheard the word. And goes on to making jokes about mishearing the word peanut. And, you know, she would choke and gag on peanuts if she had them. And her doctor told her that she had to build up a tolerance. And he said, "Well, I'm your man then." So you can fill in the jokes yourself if you didn't watch it. Honest to goodness, I laughed out loud at the
Yeah.
peanut allergy jokes. I almost
Hey, careful, careful.
never
It's
ever
peanut. Careful.
almost never ever laugh out loud watching the show, but I chortled. So it was it was a good good run of jokes there. So um yeah, what are your thoughts on Marty Ross?
Yeah, our comedians so far this year have had a rocky start, but then they've picked it up as their set has gone along. So I think we've had two good comedians, Marty and Usama from last week,
Yep.
which I think I hope can go pretty far in this competition because we need good comedians this year. Um, I think Marty is right on the edge. I think he steps along the edge very well. And I think being older, he's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of good stories to tell. He did tell us he has three ex-wives, and how he said, "Well, there's plenty of material right there."
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that he can give it to us in the next round and more rounds after that, because I think I'm going to really enjoy at least the two comedians we've seen. I don't remember. I have to go back. I don't think we saw one in week one. So the two comedians we've seen so far, I think I'm going to really enjoy them.
Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I hardly ever laugh out loud. If a comedian can make me laugh out loud from the TV, like
Yeah,
it's saying something.
yeah.
So that's good. Um, Howie said, "You are likable, and there's a place for you in the world of comedy." Sophia said, "I like your energy, and I had a great time." Heidi said, "I think you're a little naughty, and I like it." Simon said, "You're very naughty, and you really make me laugh." So, four yeses from the judges. I'm excited to see what else he brings. If they give him an opportunity to work with a writer, or if he, takes this opportunity to uh, improve his material even more, I'm all in. I
Yeah.
really enjoy him as a character, as well as a comedian.
Yep.
Okay, so that's Marty Ross. Next, we got Selena, a singer who is, how old is she? 30 years old. Calls herself kind of a tomboyish, or she grew up sort of being tomboyish. Doesn't fit the usual mold. Um, on stage, she sings very well. She's got kind of an engaging style about her in her performance. Let's see, what did she sing? Mercy by Shawn Mendes. Are you familiar with Mercy by Shawn Mendes?
I think I've heard this one. I'm not a big fan of Shawn Mendes, but I think I may have heard this one.
Okay, all right. Well, I am not familiar with it. Surprise. But I enjoyed the performance. She has energy. She has the emotions to perform well, but it just kind of felt like an amateur night to me. What do you think of Selena?
Yeah, Simon led off with "Let's hear your story," and I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go." So, yeah, but beyond that, I didn't think she was anything special. I thought she was fine. I thought she was a fine singer. She hit all the notes. I thought the song was fun. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about Selena. I'd like to kind of see her in the next round, see what all she does. We got a lot of singers tonight.
Yeah.
And none of them were really anything wow special. You know, I said that Danielia was probably the best one of the night, but I don't think there was anything, you know, that made these stand out. Even our golden buzzer that we'll get to in a little while, I didn't think they stood out. There was nothing special.
Right. Right.
So yeah, they'll just be, you know, they'll be kind of mixed in with all the other singers, and we'll just have to see what happens in Judge Cuts.
Yeah. And like I said, she sings emotionally, and she brings a lot of that emotion to her performance. But and I think the judges felt that or were drawn into that. Sophia said, "I felt you were I felt what you were feeling singing." Heidi said, "I thought the same thing. You have a beautiful voice." Howie said, "Beyond your singing, it's who you are. There are girls who want to grow up to be like you." Simon said, "We are meeting the most amazing people this season, and you're one of them. You have this glow about you. Who knows where you could go in this competition?" So, uh, not the highest praise from the judges, but high praise enough, if I recall, to get four yeses for
Yeah,
Selena.
and Simon really liked her look. You know, she had it was very raw. He said, "Don't let a stylist go near you." You know, she kind of had her hair slicked back. She had a
Hmm.
um, what is it?
A
Kind of
bandana on,
yeah,
yeah.
she had a bandana on. She had holes in her pants, in the knees of her pants. So you know, it's just a very raw look, and he really liked it. And I think that's, you know, that's a good a look to have, because it kind of gives you a brand. It gives you something that lets you stick out, and you don't want to change that. Which I can go along with. You know, if you're going to have a look, have a look. And let's go with that. That gives you a way to stand out from everyone else.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So that was Selena, our Selena. Okay, next act of the night. I got a kick out of these guys. The Demented Brothers. They don't talk, and their answers to the judges are all pre-recorded, and they are pre-recorded in a particular order. So Simon has a bit of an interview with them. He says, "What are your names, please?" And they point to the audio technician, who says, "We are the Demented Brothers." "And where are you from?" "We are going to do magic." "What would you do with $1 million?" "Yes." "What's your ultimate dream?" "Thank you for your questions." And then they move on to their performance. So I thought that was a great little shtick. I they're they're fun, right? I can
Yeah.
tell already these guys are going to be a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
um, two guys, they're wearing I kind of felt like Matador costumes almost, or
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of a different cut suit anyhow. So one of them pulls a red hanky from his pocket, uh, but then he flips it up and he makes it appear like he pulls it out of his mouth, and it's not good magic, right?
No.
That's the thing. It's not good magic. He flips the hanky up in front of his hand and he makes his index finger appear. He just holds up his index finger, and then he flips it up again in front of his hand and the index finger goes down. The other guy then pretends that he stuffs it in his ear and then pulls it out of the other guy's ear. It's just like silly, ridiculous stuff. It's in his hand, and he's just pulling it out of his hand when he holds it up to his partner's head. Um, they do the thing where they hold hands. So he stuffs it into his hand. They hold hands. They do the wave all the way across to the far hand of the partner, and then they reverse that wave and pull it back out of his hand. So they're showing that the hanky moved all the way from one side to the other and back, and we can prove because here it is right where it started. um, and then they do one where he stuffs it into his pocket. They send it through the air to the second brother's pocket, and he's like, "Oh no, I don't have a spare one in my pocket. We need to do some interpretive dance." And then the stagehand comes out and he delivers a hanky to stuff in his pocket, and then they complete the trick by sending the hanky through the air to his pocket where he pulls it out. Um, I, I thought it was funny. I'd love to see what else they can do We had a magician who was eliminated last season who did this kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like he used the foot lever on a garbage can to make the lid rise and fall. And he would give all the facial expressions to say like, ooh, look at that. He like took a snow globe, and I think he dropped a glitter over it, and he shook it as he dropped the glitter to make it look like it had gone inside of the snow globe.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. It's very much that same vein, but these guys were maybe a little bit more serious about it, or a little bit more. Something about it was more engaging than the guy who did it last season.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these guys too. I was following along on Twitter while the show was going on,
Okay,
and a lot of people out there just like they didn't get it, they didn't understand it. Simon even said he didn't understand it. I'm like, it's comedy, it's
it's
comedy,
comedy. It's
people.
not magic. It's
It's not
comedy.
real magic. No, and I think even Howie said, look, it's not real magic. It's comedy. So you got to kind of understand that. Well, going into it, you didn't know that it was comedy, but kind of after the first 10-15 seconds, you figure out that it's a comedy act. It's not a true magic act. And
Yeah.
once you've gone into that mode, then it makes it easier to enjoy this. So hopefully these guys can do something else, cards, or like say maybe a snow globe, or whatever in the next round, because these guys do have a nice stick.
Yep. Yep. I enjoy it. I will enjoy seeing them again. I fear that it's going to get tired before the end, like before they're eliminated. Like,
Yeah, I think
okay,
it's
these
gonna.
guys again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get to the live shows. If they get to the quarterfinals, if they get to the live shows, I think that America is not gonna get it. I think people are not gonna understand it, and that they're gonna get eliminated pretty quickly.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I
Yeah.
think there's potential here. Judge's comments. Simon said, "I got lost." Heidi said, "This was by far the best magic I've ever seen." Sophia said, "I've never seen something like that. I kind of enjoyed it in a very weird way." Howie said, "I thought you were enjoyable and funny." And then this is the line: "You made so little out of so much," and that's what they do.
Yes.
They go over the top. They really sell it, but what they're selling is really nothing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a nice pin on it. You make so little out of so much. Um, Simon gave him a no, but the other three judges enjoyed it enough to put them through. So 3 yeses is enough to put them through to the judge cuts. I really enjoyed this act, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what else they bring.
And I think the pre-recorded responses also make it, because that
Oh
it
yes,
makes them a little more mysterious, and
a little bit
if
more
it's a
memorable
little
as
more
well.
memorable, yeah. And if it's in a certain order, then the answers may not match the questions. So
Yep, they get the that's that really does extend. Like, okay, you guys get 2 minutes to do your performance, but like their performance is starting well before that, when they
yes,
have these pre-recorded answers with the judges. So the that's good on them all around. I think it's great. I think it's great. Okay, next act of the night, we got two, I think they're cousins,
yes.
from India, 21 and 9-year-old named Shakir and Rihan. They're a dance duo. Um, Thoughts on Shakir and Rihan before we kind of rehash the actual dance itself?
No, well, I kind of, well, I can't really say this without getting into the dance, but I kind of saw them as the unbeatable light.
Okay, sure.
So, not that they're from. I mean, part of it is they're from India, but they also reminded me a lot of the Unbeatable guys. Some of the dancing they did was kind of the Unbeatable ish. So it just seemed like there was a lot of similarities there, but just with the two of them.
Now, we had talked about, like with dancers, that a dance troupe, you kind of lose what's going on, but with
Yes,
just a duo, you know what to look at and you can follow it
yes,
more easily.
yes.
Um, uh, does Shakir and Rihan have any advantage over V Unbeatable in that way?
I don't think so. I mean, they're great together. They're nice. They're a cute little duo. He can. was Shakir's the older one.
Yes.
Rihan being so young and so small, Shakir can do a whole lot of tricks with Rihan.
Yes.
Throwing him up in the air or grabbing him by his foot and lifting him up. Those types of things that it gives them a little bit of advantage with Rihan being so small. But being beatable, they've just got so much power in there and synchronization for a large group. With them being a large group, it is hard to focus on one thing, but also you're looking at them as a whole, and you're looking at how synchronized they are as a whole. And then all of a sudden, they're doing some dance moves, and all of a sudden, a kid just pops out of the top. He like
Mhm.
goes through some hoop out of the top. So there's so much power with what 25 or 30 dancers in V Unbeatable, but then you have Shakir and Rihan. It feels a little more intimate. It feels much smaller, which is not a bad thing. And you can focus on it better, but you can also see a lot of those mistakes if there happen to be any.
Yeah, yeah, and for what it's worth, I didn't really catch any mistakes.
Yeah.
I think that Rihan has a lot of trust and faith in Shakir, and you can
Yes.
tell that they are practiced. And Shakir is strong, and Rihan is also strong, and they are very in sync. There's a couple of moves that stood out to me. Rihan was on top of Shakir's hands, like extended up above his head. Then Shakir switches to holding just one foot. Then Rihan falls, towards the side and like does a whole 360 just being held by that one foot. Or I guess it was more like a not a full 360, but he is brought down very gracefully after being swung by that one foot. Rihan got flipped and thrown and caught a lot in the I'm guessing about 2 minutes that they performed. Um, and I feel like my explanation does not do them justice because they are
No.
so very in sync, and what they do looks so very dangerous. And it looks like Rihan could get seriously injured anytime. So pretty cool. One other move that I wrote down: Rihan was laying on the ground, and Shakir grabbed one foot, one leg, and he flipped him up, and he did a backflip to a standing position. So
Yeah.
they're very very good. I've got a 9-year-old son; he can't do any of this stuff. So maybe
Can you
that's
do
my
this?
fault.
He can do the somersaults,
Oh,
right?
he might be able to do a
He does
somersault or two.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know that he could do it in sync with me. Maybe that's maybe that's the problem.
My,
But no,
my
they do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, they do. I only have a couple of things to add, and that is that it looked. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for, but it looked a little too rehearsed. It looked a little too stiff at times, especially like when they would do somersaults. It didn't. There were some of them that didn't look natural,
Okay.
um, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I think some of those transitions from one movement to another didn't seem to flow. It seemed very stiff at that time. The other thing is that as Rihan grows up and gets a little bit bigger, they're going to have to adjust some of these tricks that they do. But maybe they can move more into like a hand balancing type thing, where as Rihan gains strength, maybe they can look at like a hand balancing type acrobatic
Yeah.
act instead of like a dancing type act. But
They can
that's
certainly expand their repertoire,
like
and it'll certainly have to change as Rihan gets older and bigger,
yes,
right?
yes, yep.
So right now they're in a window where what they're doing works. I don't know that in 2 3 4 years when he's 12, 13, 14, like it's going to be pretty hard to be doing the same act then.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna have to adjust it. And you were right. 1 minute 58.
Yes. Okay. So there you go. That's Shakir and Rihan. Next act of the night. If you're ready to talk about David Rush,
Yeah, we can talk about David Rush.
I gotta say, during his intro package, I think it was, we do get a shot of the grandma twins at the
Yes,
at the 1 hour and 37 minute mark. Did you catch that? That was did you see them in the crowd?
I personally did not, but there's a Twitter handle that we're following called AGT Commentator, and he spotted them, and I said, I wonder if the Double Dragon Twins family is sitting behind them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised. Okay, so we've got David Rush. The grandmas are in the audience. They're ready to watch. He says, I'm going to attempt to break a world record. He has previously broken 125 world records. I suspect he doesn't hold all of those currently or at one time. But yeah, he says, I'm going to attempt to wear and tear the most t-shirts in 1 minute. It says he needs a volunteer to help him, and all the judges are like, nope, not me. So he gets Terry Crews to come out and help him out. He and Terry Crews leave the stage. They come back on with 30 t-shirts, white t-shirts over, I guess, layered over top of one another. And the rules are you have to tear them one at a time. He says the current world record is 28 t-shirts in 1 minute. 29 will beat it. 30 will crush it. So they've got 30 of them on, which is nice, easy to kind of see what's going to happen here. So they take off. Terry is tearing them, and David Rush is tearing them. You can tell that David sort of has a rhythm. He's practiced this. He knows what he's going to be doing. Later, we learn that Terry had tore more than one at a time, so he knew that he already kind of messed up the that he's a cheater. So David, on the other hand, he's seems like he's actually going to set a new world record in front of our eyes, and gosh darn it, he does in fact set a world record of tearing the most t-shirts off his body in 1 minute. What did you think of the act? What did you think of David? Give me your thoughts.
Okay, so yeah, going into it, you're like, oh, breaking a world record. This sounds interesting, and I love like world records. I don't. You probably did this too when you were a kid, teenager. You'd always love thumbing through the Guinness World Record books
Oh,
and kind of
absolutely.
seeing what the craziest thing was in there. So I think all of us, kind of as kids, we've been fascinated with Guinness World Records. So when you came out and said this, and I think we may have had someone in previous years that also has tried to break
I want to say like
world.
breaking watermelons with his head or something. Does that sound familiar?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've had people try to break world records on AGT before. So when he came out and he said he was going to do, I was like, oh, okay. But then when he tried to make it a competition, I was like, okay, well that's a new level. And he kept trying to get the judges involved. I think he asked Howie a couple of times, and Howie's like, no, I'm not doing it. Tried to get any of the other judges. The judges wouldn't do it. And then Terry got real excited, so they brought Terry out to do it, which I think makes more sense.
Yeah, Terry's the perfect guy to be doing this.
Yeah, so tearing jerseys. I mean, like the Hulk.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so 30 t-shirts they have to do. That's one every 2 seconds that they have to do. That's a pretty good pace.
Yeah, having I think a total of 0 t-shirts ripped off my body to date. Yeah, it seems like that's something that would be pretty difficult to do. Absolutely. Um, I I enjoyed it. I was on the edge of my seat, wanting to see what was going to happen. So, as entertainment goes, I thought it was kind of fun. It'd be interesting to see what else he does. Um, you know, I I do remember hearing something about setting world records. Like there's a certain number of qualifiers that you can put on it. It's not the longest time on a pogo stick underwater by somebody who is exactly 6 feet tall. You know,
Yeah,
like there's only so many qualifiers. There's only so many things that you can add to it to make it a world record. You have to um, sort of keep it tight, right?
yeah,
Because right next to that is the world record for the guy pogo sticking underwater who's 6'1", and the guy who's 5'11", and the guy who's 6'2", and the guy So you have to qualify it, and he seems to obviously have a good sense of what he can and can't do to qualify, and has certainly been in discussion with the Guinness folks about keeping track of what he could or couldn't do, and making sure that what he does is legit and worthy of a world record. So,
yeah. He did a lot of negotiating with the judges, particularly Sophia, to try to get moved on to the next round, and throwing out different ideas of things that he could try to do. And Sophia didn't have any part of it.
Yeah, she wasn't playing along. Hey, a quick question before we talk about judges' comments.
Uh-huh.
Are you aware of any world records that you might be a part of?
Well, interestingly, you ask. So, I think I mentioned the company I work for. This is their 100-year birthday. This is their
Okay.
centennial. And one of the things that we were going to try to do is do the world's largest human shaped, and I don't remember, and I'm not a chemist, so I don't remember the exact name, but kind of the largest beaker made out of humans.
Okay. Okay.
Because it worked for a chemical company.
Yep.
So again, there's a specific name for this beaker, but that's one thing we were going to try to do this year. But due to quarantine, a lot of those things have kind of been pushed to the side, and obviously they don't want a large group of people standing next to each other to try to make the world's largest human shaped beaker
Man.
or beakers. Yeah.
Beaker,
So
beaker shape of
uh,
humans. Yeah.
yeah, beaker shape of humans. So yes, I was planning on kind of participating in that when they coordinated it, but we're not sure what's going to happen there. So
Man, that's funny. That's funny. It seems like the large group sort of world records are the ones that are the easiest to try and pull off, or are the ones that you're most likely to be a part of, right? You
yeah,
have to kind of be trying to be in a world record if it's not a
yeah,
something like that. So
yeah.
I can think of 3 world records that I have been or am a part of. So um, the stupidest one that I'm claiming part of is I've been to a Nebraska Cornhuskers football game during their sellout streak, the longest sellout streak of any, I'm guessing, sports team. I think that I can claim a part of that world record with one billionth of it, but that's that. Um, I was part of the world's largest kazoo band at a youth conference with
Okay, that doesn't surprise
youth
me.
group students in Utah once, and I was part of the largest group of people eating corn dogs at the same time at the Iowa State Fair a few years ago. So
Okay,
those are the 3 that came to mind for world records for me. So if anybody wants to tweet at us the world record you're a part of, I'd really love to hear what things you guys have been roped into or have been a part of for
okay,
world records at AGT time.
yeah.
Let's hear it. So I'd love that.
Here's a couple of other things that David Rush has done
Oh,
in the
great!
past. Yeah, so this is just an article I found that lists a few things he's done. So to kind of go along with the T-shirt, he's the fastest to put on T-shirts.
Oh, really?
It's the
Okay.
fastest to put on 10 T-shirts. His winning time, 15.61 seconds.
All right. I've got
Put
10
on.
T-shirts. I could try it.
Okay. Let's see. He holds many marks, including juggling catches on a unicycle while blindfolded, so 30.
Interesting. Okay.
Longest duration balancing a bicycle on his chin, 6 minutes, 1.07 seconds.
Okay.
And most baseball bat spins in a minute,
I don't know what a baseball
94.
bat spin is.
You've not seen where they you put your forehead down on a yeah.
Oh. No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, you've not been to a minor league baseball game where they have kids do that and they
Yeah,
put
yeah.
their forehead on a baseball bat, spin around, and then try to run down. And
Okay.
yeah,
94 spins in a minute?
in a minute. Yes.
Wow. Okay, that seems unobtainable. Okay, so um judges comments. We'll jump onto that. All right. Howie, with the 30 white T-shirts ripped down the front, hanging off his shoulders, he said, "It looks like you got caught in a hurricane in Simon's closet. Congratulations on the record, but it's just not that entertaining." Heidi said, "It was entertaining for a minute. We were all wondering who was going to win." Simon said, "I think the most important thing is, what are you going to do next?" And he says, "How about slicing apples while juggling? No. How about the fastest time to pop 200 balloons with a nail? No. How about longest duration balancing a lawnmower on my chin? Nope, not interested. How about most kiwis sliced with a samurai sword while balancing on a Swiss ball? No, I'm allergic to kiwis. How about apples? No, just give up. So 2 yeses from Howie and Heidi, 2 nos. I'm sorry, 2 nos from Howie and Sophia, yeses from Simon and Heidi. So
Yeah, this seems like something that Howie would be interested in. It
I
seems
thought so too.
it's silly. It is entertaining. I get that it's like, well, what's the talent? I mean, because he's kind of just coming up with random stuff. I mean, if he's a danger act, then that's one thing. But all he's doing is trying to do stuff as quickly as possible. Um, part of AGT is you're limited to a certain amount of time. Well, you can do
Yeah.
your stuff in that amount of time. But yeah, this just seemed right up Howie's alley. I'm not sure why he didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm like to kind of take it from the 10,000 foot view. David
Mhm.
Rush's real ability is he's a pretty good juggler and a pretty good unicyclist, and he knows how to play the Guinness World Record system.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He knows what they're looking for. Because it sounds like he can slice apples while juggling, or slice kiwis while juggling, or slice uh, pineapples or mango. Like, he could set 20 different world records on just slicing a thing while he's juggling, right?
Yeah.
The balancing things on my chin. I could balance a lawnmower, a bicycle, a table lamp, like, just start listing things that you could balance on your chin. Like, he's good enough at these things, but he knows how to play their game, and
Yeah.
that's his real talent.
And he needs to kind of specify this lawnmower. So is it one of these push mowers that doesn't actually have a
The
motor?
real mowers, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that, or is it like a skag? I mean, like so.
Yeah, not some ZTR, giant $3,000 mower, I'm sure.
Well, he needs to get a partner since he can juggle. He's got all these other dangerous things he can do. He needs to get a partner, do something very similar to what the Passing Zone does, where they
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
do some comedy and maybe throw kiwis at each other and slice them with samurai swords. So it sounds like he's got potential. He's got a talent. He needs to kind of focus it, and not just do. I mean, I get that he likes doing world records. That's great. But if this is something you really want to do, if AGT is something you want to do, you need to kind of focus it on something and get you a partner.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see him do the same world record and then beat his own world record and then beat that world record and then beat that world record, right?
So just rip t-shirts every week.
Well, if that's the thing that gets him through, right? This week I'm going to rip 30 t-shirts. Next week I'm going to rip 31. Next week I'm going to rip 32. Next week I'm going to rip 33, right? And they're like, that's really putting something on the line, right? Like, we just saw you break the world record and we know it was hard.
Yeah.
So to actually break your own world record, like, now that we've got a baseline, that's an idea. I don't
Yeah.
know if that would be enough to kind of put him through, or to bring him to the level that Howie and Sophia need to see. But I think that's I don't know, one way to maybe consider ramping it up.
Yeah. Whew.
Okay, so
That's a lot of that was a lot about a guy that got eliminated.
okay, well, let's rank our 4 eliminated acts of the night then. Okay.
Okay.
We've got the Barbershop Quartet, Bank of Harmony. We've got Barbara Argyru, the singer who was nervous. We have New Law, the band that was also nervous. And then David Rush, the world record setter. Rank those 4 best to worst for me.
Okay, so if I went by entertainment value alone, you can kind of go by entertainment or talent, but I'm going to go by entertainment value alone. I think David Rush entertained me the most, and then Bank of Harmony, and I think they were pretty close. And then Barbara, and then New Law's way down there because I'm not even. They were very unmemorable.
Okay.
So,
interesting. Okay. So you had David number 1, Bank of Harmony number 2,
Barbara and
Barbara
then
the
New
New
Law.
Law. I think
Yeah.
I would take the top 2 and flop them, and the bottom 2 and flop them.
Okay.
So, well, man, I don't know. Maybe David is better than Bank of Harmony. Um, no, you know what? I'm going to go with it. Bank of Harmony, I preferred over David Rush. I like a good barbershop quartet. No, I love a good barbershop quartet. I like any decent barbershop quartet, and they made me smile, and I think that they've got a whole lot of potential, and it makes me feel good. Uh,
Yeah,
then David Rush, um, and then I'd take the band over the soloist on those bottom two.
yeah. I think David had the fortunate of the Terry factor.
Sure.
If Terry Crews wasn't up there, I don't think it would have been anything. But because Terry was involved in the act, I think that boosted it. I mean, that boosted it a lot.
Yeah, and David's no idiot. He knew what he was doing,
Yeah.
right? He to increase the entertainment value, I'm going to have
Yes.
another person doing this with me, right?
Yes. Yep.
If the other person fails miserably, that's great. If the other
Yeah.
person actually beats him, that's great. Like
Yeah.
he he really can't lose. We're going to see a world record, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
If you beat Terry Crews, then you can say I beat Terry Crews.
yeah,
If
at
you
a
lose to
thing.
Terry Crews, you can at least say, "Hey, I came in second to Terry Crews."
I am the second best t-shirt ripper offer.
Yes.
uh, yeah, yeah. So I think he's got the right idea. You know, maybe he's going to Sethward and come back next season, and we're going to see David Rush again. I don't know, but yeah, that's all right.
I say
But
I don't. I
my
don't.
edge goes to Bank of Harmony on that game.
Yeah, I don't remember if they do wild cards for judge cuts, but I think he'd be a nice wild card to have.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Um, Somebody's going to give him the thumbs up. Okay, last act of the night. So we know. Well, I'll tell you this: there's still like a half hour left in the show at this point, or a solid 20 minutes at least.
Yeah, I think it was 15 or so, 15 to 20. Yes. Yeah, you're right though. There was
Uh,
a lot of time left in this.
so I wasn't sure that this was going to be the last act of the night, but Christina Ray comes on. She's a
Well,
singer from Nashville, Tennessee. What do you have to say?
I was going to say real quick. We were moving along in our podcast as well until we hit David Rush. So we spent about 15 to 20 minutes talking about David Rush. So
Yeah, maybe we need to start
we
calling
were
him
moving along in this too. So
David Tap the Brakes, not David Rush.
yeah.
David, slow it down a little bit. Okay. That's fine. We both have some pretty strong opinions about David Rush, I guess. Okay. Christina Ray, she's a singer. She in a package tells us that she lived in a car while she was pregnant with her son Jeremiah, who is along with her and happens to be the cutest.
Yes, absolutely.
Just the big brown eyes and not particularly engaging with the judges or with Terry, but like really just happy to kind of go along. Super cute, super cute. I cannot express how cute this kid was in words. But she tells us that she wants to own a home and not just live with relatives and give Jeremiah his own bedroom. So she's going to sing the song "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. I'm familiar with this one.
Yes, we know this song. Yes.
And she's great, right? She's smooth and she hits her notes and she's got good runs and she's very capable singer. Finishes the song and Simon says, "Can I hear your second song as well, please?" And she says, "Yes." And he says, "Do you need a drink of water?" She says, "No, I'm going to let the adrenaline take me." And we cut to commercial. We come back, rehash everything I just said. And now we're going to get to hear her sing her second song, which is "Gimme Shelter" by Rolling Stones. Are you familiar with "Gimme Shelter"?
I'm not. No.
Yep, me
Is
neither.
this one of their obscure songs?
It must be the backtracks. I don't know.
Is it the B-sides?
So she finishes, four judges giving her a standing ovation. She's got, like I said, real control of her voice, yet a kind of like edgy, but still very likable look, you know, kind of a motherly look, kind of thing about her. Good story. Cute kid. Did I say the kid's cute?
Adorable.
Okay. So that was that for her act. Give Me Shelter and In the Air Tonight. What'd you think of her as a singer?
Uh, I like the first song better. Maybe it's just because I recognized it, but I kind of like the first song better. One of my initial comments or observations on her was she's really loud.
Yeah. Yep.
She's very loud. I think her voice is she put too much power behind her voice. I think she could have backed it off a little bit. There was some times she kind of missed the pitch a little bit. Um, but yeah, I guess the biggest thing is she does have a lot of power, but I think in these songs she used too much power, and it felt like it was just overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. She started big and went bigger.
Yes.
And maybe a little bit more dynamics wouldn't have hurt. Sure. Um, yeah. Judges' comments. Sophia said, fantastic. Heidi and I were getting goosebumps, and I'm going to vote now. It's yes. Howie said, we handed you this house and you blew the roof off of it. Simon said, there's only one way to describe your voice, insanely good. There's no point in making shows like this unless we find people like you. Heidi said, I think you're absolutely out of this world. My heart is racing for you. Are you ready for this? And she says, while pointing to the golden buzzer, are you ready for this right now? And then she hits the golden buzzer, and tears of happiness and hugs and yada yada yada. Um, I didn't feel like this was golden buzzer worthy tonight.
No. No.
And we'd had Christina Ray tonight. First episode, who was our? It was the voices of our city choir. And then who was the golden buzzer last week?
Uh, was it Roberta? Roberta
Yeah,
Battaglia?
yeah. Another singer that just didn't really
It's those
just didn't really
stories,
wow
Jay.
me,
It's
man.
those stories.
I don't know. Roberta was fine.
Yeah.
Christina Ray is fine. Voices of Our City Choir is less fine than those two, I guess. Like, I'm not really taken with the golden buzzers this season.
No, and it seemed like a lot of these. It was I found it interesting that we were able to get to three golden buzzers. Again, we don't know how much time they actually took producing these, how many acts they actually saw before they had to go into to lockdown. But we were
Right.
able to get to three golden buzzers, and if you look, the judges are wearing the same outfit in all three golden buzzers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
and pretty much for every episode they've worn the same outfit. If you look,
Okay.
Heidi and Sophia have the same dresses on in all three shows.
Yeah, I
Um,
wasn't following the fashion this season. Thanks for being our fashion guy.
that's what I do. I follow the fashion. That one year I saw Mel B. There was the one year where all four judges' golden buzzers were from the same night because
Yeah.
Mel B was wearing the exact same outfit in all of them. I don't know. Just I don't know why I keep track of the fashion. It's what I do. So um, this is Hulu time, but her entire time on screen was 10:47.
Whew.
Yeah, so her two songs combined were 4:55.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, a lot of time for Christina Ray. So not my choice for a golden buzzer. Um, so
So, who would be your golden buzzer of the night?
I don't from this particular. They apparently grouped them all for some reason, but from this one, I don't know if I would have had one.
Okay, if you had to pick one of our contortionist Emerald Gordon Wolf,
Yeah,
we got Resound,
yeah.
Amanda LeCount, our dancer. We got Danelia Tulashova, our Kazakhstani singer. Marty Ross, our stand-up comedian. Selena, another singer. Demented Brother, the comedy magic duo. Shakir and Rihan, our dance duo. And then David Rush, novelty act. Well, I guess David was eliminated. Never mind.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, if I had a golden buzzer, that wouldn't have mattered.
Okay,
So
fine.
yeah,
Fine.
so I was thinking that if it were me, I probably would have golden buzzer David Rush.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm going up to Marty Ross. I thought he was
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. That would have been a good one too. Yeah.
Yep. Um, yeah, you have to be aware of those peanut allergies. So, uh, Um,
I
yeah,
I thought it was a fine night. I thought we got a lot of singers tonight, but we got some other stuff too with a comedian, a couple of comedians with Demented Brothers, and then some dancers. I thought it was a nice, well-rounded one. Uh, Still kind of interested what we're going to get next week.
certainly. Yeah.
Yep.
We're getting closer and closer to quarantine and closer to them not being able to get together and record a show. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. We keep saying it. So
Yeah, I think California's starting to lift some of their restrictions. So if we get to the point where we can do a live show, it's likely there won't be an audience,
right.
but they could at least do a live show. The judges may be spread out in the theater, so we'll just
It'd
kind of
be
have to see.
interesting. Maybe the other acts could be in the audience, spread around the theater. I don't know,
Yeah,
or is that even fair? Well, yeah, they're usually
I mean
watching them on
they're
TV,
watching.
right?
Yeah, they're back in the green room or they're watching on TV or something. Yeah, so they're there. So I don't see why that wouldn't be an advantage or a disadvantage to have
Might
them
be able to
there.
figure a way to do this, but
And I think these acts pretty much cheer for each other.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay. All right. Well, with that, let's put a bow on it. Tweet at us. Should we do a hashtag like my world record? Hashtag my
Yes.
world record.
There you go.
Okay. Uh, Let me know your world record. What world record are you a part of, or have you set? Hashtag my world record. Otherwise, you can always email us or tweet at us or send us $1 on PayPal. And we're happy to be a part of your AGT fandom. Hopefully, you're enjoying the show, and it's worth it for all of us. So I'm having fun this season. We still have a lot of questions, and we'll see what gets answered before the end of this thing, huh?
Yep, absolutely. I'm excited. I'm excited and fascinated to kind of see what's going to happen next.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
Nope, nothing else.
All right. I guess we'll sign off. Have a great night, and thanks.
Bye.